All right. After 72 hours straight in the lab, we just got out. These are our favorite 10 props of the divisional round. Luke, we're going to go game by game. 4 games, 4 matchups, 8 teams looking to punch their tickets to an AFC NFC championship game. Who has it better than us?
What could go wrong?
I'm looking at 3 props in Arrowhead, 3 props in Ford Field, 2 props in Lincoln Financial, 2 props in Bills Mafia. I feel pretty good about all of them. Are we missing some? Sure. Are we leaving a few out? Are we putting a few in? I'm sure. But I mean, we have spent this entire week in the lab, and these are the 10 props that we have come up with right here. Without further ado, Luke, we head to Arrowhead. First game of the divisional.
Game 1.
Of the divisional round. Game number 1. The Houston Texans taking a trip to Kansas City to play the Chiefs, the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Luke, prop number 1 is a receiving prop from a tight end who has won back-to-back Super Bowls and who has hit this prop 13 straight playoff games. Give us Travis Kelce over 52.5 receiving yards. 13 games in a row, Travis Kelce has been on the field in a playoff game for the Chiefs where he has gone over this number. Give us 52.5 receiving yards.
It's Travis Kelce season. They save him all year. They dink and dunk him. He doesn't play every snap. But when it comes to January, when it comes to February,
this is his coming out party. This is when he comes out of the closet all season long. It's dink, it's dunk, just like you said. They kind of use them only in times of need all year. I can see them panning up to the box now with Taylor Swift going fucking nuts. Travis Kelce smelling about 7 or 8 receptions to lead them coming off a bye to an AFC championship game. No funny business. Not the time to mess around. Give us over 52.5 receiving yards. Travis Kelce. Loop. It's time for prop number 2. It's time for player prop number 2. Loop, I like this one. I like getting in bed with this one. I don't know why. I've kind of just felt this guy in my plums all week. I don't know if the sports betting gods.
You love him.
I don't know why. This wave, this cloud has hovered above me the last 3 days. I don't know if the sports betting gods came into my room last night or if something took place. I am not sure, but show us DeAndre Hopkins over 29.5 receiving yards. I don't
Seems
know why.
Too low. Seems too low. That's 2 catches.
Way too low.
That's 2 catches.
He has played 10 games with the Kansas City Chiefs. He is coming off his lowest receiving yards total in Pittsburgh on Christmas. The last game he played, he had 7 yards. He had more than 25 receiving yards in every single game before that. 9 straight games. Now he's coming off a slow game in Pittsburgh on Christmas and now coming off basically 2 byes. He didn't play in Denver, and now they come off a bye of the wild card round. 29.5 receiving yards going against the team who you started with? The team you came to with the dance? However the fuck that saying is, we'll land that plane loop. Save me. I'm drowning over here. DeAndre Hopkins. How does he not get 29.5?
Your only worry here is the Chiefs are healthy. They got mouths to feed. They got Hollywood Brown. They got Xavier Worthy. They got Pacheco. They got Hunt. They got Watson. They got Noah Gray. But 29.5, I mean, that's just 2 completions.
Like you said, it's Worthy, Justin Watson, Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown, Pacheco, Hunt. But we could be going into halftime with 5 yards and get one big play from Hopkins in the 3rd or 4th quarter. 29.5 receiving yards. How hard is it to ask for?
No.
So with that being said, prop number 2, DeAndre Hopkins over 29 and a
2 for
half
2.
receiving yards. There's a lot of mouths to feed with this Kansas City team, but he went 9 straight games of 25-plus receiving yards when he showed up to Arrowhead, when he put on the Chiefs uniform. Now he's coming off a slow game in the Steelers. He's coming off not playing in Denver. They're coming off the bye week in the wild card round. This game is meant for revenge, going against his former team. Show us Hopkins to get over 29 and a half. All right, time for prop number 3, Luke. We're going with the wide receiver 2 from the Houston Texans, John Mechie. Coming off a season high of targets, 8 targets in the wild card round. And the story of this prop, give us over 34 and a half receiving yards for John Mechie. Coming off 8 targets, it can't be all Nico Collins. That's the story of this game.
Like you like to say, billboards around the country, Nico Collins. You don't think Spags is all over that? Knowing that if he shuts down Nico Collins, the Chiefs are probably going to blow this team out. Stroud's going to have to dink and dunk, get it out quick, get it to his quick man, get it to Mechie.
34 and a half receiving yards is all we ask for a wide receiver room right now that is very slim. Very slim. Stover, the backup tight end who got a few targets last week, is probably most likely not going to play. You have Hutchinson, who had, I think, 2 targets last week. It is all Nico Collins. It is all John Mechie. We saw that in the wild card round last week. If they can't establish the run against this Kansas City Chiefs front, and if they are playing from behind, if that's what the game script shows, if they come out flat-footed, if the next thing you know, it's 10-0 Chiefs quick, it is going to be they're going to have to air it out. Yep. They're going to have to air it out, which means John Mechie is going to have to get to 34 and a half receiving yards.
Sounds like 3 for 3 in game 1.
If Mechie doesn't get 34 and a half receiving yards, the Texans are going to lose this game by 20.
Correct.
Because I don't see them really establishing the run that great with Joe Mixon. And it can't be all Nico Collins. It just can't be. As much as that would be great and Nico go for 150 and the Texans are trying to take down this Kansas City Chiefs team, I don't see it happening. So, with that being said, prop number 3, John Mechie, over 34 and a half receiving yards. Game script says they're going to be trailing. Can't be all Nico. Going to be tough to establish the run. Give us John Mechie. Now we go to game number 2. We're flying through these. We're sprinting through these props like a 40-yard dash. If you haven't already, drop a like, drop a sub, drop a comment, share it to a friend and neighbor.
Please.
The mailman, something. Trying to put food on the table over here, fellas. Going to war against the books. Prop number 4. Prop number 4 is a man, if you look at the 2023 playoffs, he ain't. Now, he's coming off a bye, and they get to play one of the worst secondaries, if not the worst secondary in the National Football League. I can't believe my eyes. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 75 and a half receiving yards.
Again, it feels too low.
What are we doing here?
Again, it feels too low.
It's way too low, dude. I mean, Luke, can we bring up Amon-Ra St. Brown's game log last playoff?
I got
2023.
87, 77, and 110. 110 against the Rams in the divisional round. 77 against the Bucks, and then 87 against the Niners. Targets,
so
34, 34 targets in 3 games.
Now, once again, this isn't, you see, I feel like the meter, the stadium pulse, it turns up a notch from wild card round to divisional round. Correct. Now, this is serious shit. This is why we play the game now.
You're playing to go to the championship game.
You get this game, you're 2 wins away from legacy, from Super Bowl, from all time. Looking back, this is the moment. You're 1 game away from then 2 wins away from winning a Super Bowl. This is not the time to bullshit around.
Yep.
No funny business now. You go to your best players in the biggest games when the lights are the brightest. Amon-Ra St. Brown hit this in all 3 playoff games in the 2023 playoffs. Now they're giving us a line of 75.5 receiving yards against one of the, if not the worst secondary in the National Football League. How is it that guys like Puka Nacua traveling to Philadelphia, line set at 91.5. Nico Collins traveling to Arrowhead, 86.5. But they're going to give us Amon-Ra St. Brown in the comfort of his own home with a dome over his roof against this Commander secondary at 75.5. It almost feels too free.
Ben Johnson knows he's going to have to feed his man early and often.
I mean, Luke, he's gone 4 straight games of 6+ receptions. And now this Commander secondary, they're calling a Waffle House because everyone's open. Show us Amon-Ra St. Brown for 75+ receiving yards. That's prop number 4. Time for prop number 5. We're getting through these quick. It's the divisional round. This is why we play, fellas. We go to another man. Game script says they're going to be trailing. They're going to have to air out the rock. It's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. I feel like there's going to be a lot of back against the wall for the Washington Commanders playing against this Lions defense.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that there's going to have to be rabbits pulled out of hats. You know, Jayden Daniels is going to have to do as much as he can to keep this ball game close. And what does that mean? He's going to have to go to reliable, big target, over the middle, out in the flat, a man who is a Super Bowl champion, has been around the block. Show us Zach Ertz for over 30.5 receiving yards.
Tight end's always open.
Tight end's always open, especially in this spot. Because once again, we look at a wide receiver room. They've stepped up for sure, but outside of Terry McLaurin, you got Zacchaeus, you got Brown. It's slim pickings. And obviously they've been working with the two-headed monster with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr. the best they can in the backfield. They're going to have to do by any means necessary. And I feel like 30.5 receiving yards is an absolute joke of a line for a vet tight end in an atmosphere in a game like this. Luke, it might be one of my favorites. Big old, good old, reliable Zach Ertz.
He's going to be open. 3rd downs, he's going to be looking for him. Big plays. 3rd and 6, you get 8. 3rd and 9, you give it to him for 10. Give it to him in the red zone. He might score too. I love it.
I love it. And not to mention, since week 10, Zach Ertz has averaged 40 yards a game, 40 receiving yards a game since week 10. So he's definitely been a staple in this offense. He didn't have the most, impactful game in Tampa Bay. It makes me love this man even more. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on Terry McLaurin, a lot of eyes. Jayden Daniels, let's get the rock to big 85 or whatever number he's wearing nowadays in Washington. That's prop number 5. Prop number 6, our final prop in Detroit, in Ford Field. It's a great segue. Speaking of putting the body on the line by doing any means necessary. This is also one of our favorite props of the week. This man, I feel, is going to have to be making plays, pulling first downs out of his ass cheeks.
Yep.
We're going to take Jayden Daniels for over 54.5 rushing yards. That's prop number 6. I feel like we have to get in bed with this prop. Once again,
in a game like this, where they're going to be down, he's going to be chasing. There's a surefire way for them to get yards. It's with him, with his feet. He's going to be doing it all game long. He's got to set the tone early, moving. 55 seems like if he doesn't have 50, 60, 70, 80 rushing yards, I don't know how they're in this game at all.
I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures. There's going to be a lot of urgency in this game. Obviously, the game plan coming out for the Commanders, they're not going to want to drop too far behind. And in doing that, it's aggressiveness. It's keeping the ball sometimes with design runs. It is when no one's open downfield, you're picking up extra chunks. I just want to pull up real quick his game log of some of the bigger games he's been a part of this season. I know when they played Atlanta, it was big. Last week, he has 13 carries for 36 yards. That makes me even more positive. He's going to have some more open ground in a dome, fast track. That Sunday night football game for the Falcons, prime time. He goes for 127 rushing yards. Game before that, a comeback win against the Philadelphia Eagles, 81 rushing yards. The game before that, a very tight game. They just skinny out of New Orleans because the Saints can't get the 2-point conversion at the end, 66 rushing yards. I mean, these are all massive games. Against the Cowboys, 74 yards rushing. The first game of the year when they went against the Bucs, 88 yards rushing. Let's see over 52 and a half yards rush, or 54 and a half.
Easy.
I love that prop. So yeah, Jayden Daniels over 54 and a half yards rushing in just a massive game.
3 in game 1, 3 in game 2. We're feeling at least 4 or 5 for 6 here.
I really like these props. We're getting in bed. It's not the clear-cut route. I mean, in Arrowhead, I know the props are going to be sketchy. I feel like that game is very either high-scoring or it's 6-0 at half. Chiefs, bullshit, fluke shit in the air. In Ford Field, we're expecting points. We're expecting first downs. We're expecting red zone trips for both squads. Secondary for the Commanders isn't great. We've seen points put up against this Lions team all year long. St. Brown receiving yards, love that. Zach Ertz, Mr. Reliable, vet, love that. Jayden Daniels get frisky with his feet. Okay, now we have 2 props in Lincoln Financial, 2 props in Bills Mafia. Luke, we've talked about this one all week. We're not going to sugarcoat this one. This is more so icing on the cake. Prop number 7 in Philadelphia. Show us A.J. Brown over 4.5 receptions.
You love this one.
I love this one, dude. I don't know how I would rank these 10 props, our favorite 10 props of the divisional round, but this has to be top 5. This is a top 5 prop of mine heading into the weekend. I know I sound like an absolute junkie listing my favorite props. However, I mean, when you get the book out, when you're in the media all week long, when you have one reception in a wild card game and you're probably the most talented wide receiver on the field, A.J. Brown, we know what this man is capable of. You cannot walk out of a divisional round matchup after playing this week, win or loss, without at least giving A.J. Brown 10 targets. You can't put your head on the pillow at night knowing that you didn't give your best target, your best weapon when airing out the football, at least 10 targets in an atmosphere in a game that means this much on Sunday.
I'm a little scared, dude, because he had the book out. Everybody's going to be jumping all over it. But when he did this last time and he complained about the targets and the passing offense, he went off in the next game. So we're going to ride him. Put the book down. Put the ball in the hands.
I think that was also a little bit Jalen Hurts getting his feet back underneath him. Didn't play against the Cowboys, then sat the starters against the Giants, and then you go into a wild card game. It was an ugly game. It was not pretty, but this is like back-to-back games A.J. Brown has been on the field where I understand the frustration at this point, has not made an impact. And like we said, in the past, when this man isn't involved, he gets frustrated. He lets people know. He lets the media know. He lets his teammates know. I know it was Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee in that game against the Cowboys week 17, but the man had 36 receiving yards. Then you get benched. You take the week off against the Giants. You go into a game against the Packers, and then you have 10 receiving yards. He bitched after the game against the Panthers. Then he came out and had 8 receptions for 110 yards. And then the following week went 8 receptions for 97 yards. In those games, 11 targets, 15 targets. I'll pull up the game log of the 2022 playoff when the Eagles made a run. I mean, he didn't actually do too much in the divisional round or the championship round. So
we got enough of this, dude. Let's keep it rolling.
yeah.
They get it. He's gonna
we-
catch 5 balls.
He's gonna catch 5 balls, dude.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He only snapped in the Super Bowl in that run in 2022, which is kind of interesting. But neither here or there, fellas. That's prop number 7. And then, like, prop number 8, it's frisky. It's sketchy. This is when we put on the suit and tie and we buy low. One of our favorite things to do. We say this bullshit all the time. When people are selling out on teams, when people are selling out on players, when players fuck people's parlays the week before, when people pronounce players dead, they put them on parlay ban lists. That's usually when we like to get in bed with a player. With that being said, prop number 8 of the divisional round is Mr. Cooper Kupp over 40.5 receiving yards. Game script once again. I'm seeing a trend. I'm smelling a trend that the teams that are going to have to be playing a more aggressive style on the road, back against the wall, ball sack on the table. It can't be down to one gentleman. And the value that we're getting on these wide receiver 2s or these safety options, I'm in love with. We did it with the Texans, John Mechie. We did it with the Commanders, Zach Ertz. Now we're doing it with the Rams and Cooper Kupp. We love Puka Nacua more than the next guy. We love Puka Nacua prime time. He's treated us well all year, but I don't know if I can truly get really excited to sit in the stadium, sit on the couch, and try to watch Puka Nacua go for 93 receiving yards.
Yep.
That seems like a really tall task against a very good Eagles defense on a very cold day in January. But
McVay's gonna have the boys dialed up, dude. He's gonna have all the tricks in the bag, and that's got to involve some Cooper Kupp if they want any chance to win this game.
if they want any chance to win this game, it can't be all Puka Nacua. Also, the Eagles front and the trying to establish the run against the Eagles is a very hard thing to do. So taking Kyron Williams out of the picture, they're going to be stacking the box. They're going to be getting pressure on Stafford, getting the ball out quick. That should feed into targets for both Kupp, for both Puka. I mean, and we're getting half the yards, 40 fucking yards. This is a guy who is a Super Bowl champion with Matthew Stafford. And when they're in desperation mode and their back's against the wall, you're going to have to throw it to Cooper Kupp as well. And 40 yards seems ridiculous.
Yep.
He could do that in a half.
Yep.
So, with that being said, prop number 8 is Cooper Kupp over 40.5 receiving yards. All right, that's 8 props down. This has been a glorious video. Feeling good about these 8 props. I sometimes get anxiety thinking to myself if there is a player in a game that we're just like leaving out that we should have put in, you know? And right now I'm like really thinking of all the guys, all the players, all the matchups. And I just don't think. I don't want to get in bed with some of these bigger lines, bigger value guys. I don't know.
Let's get to the game of the week, dude.
Game of the week. Game of the week, Luke, comes in Bills Mafia. Prop number 9. Well, we know it is MVP versus MVP, Ravens-Bills collision course. We saw this one coming before the wild card round. A game that will be just a football fan's wet dream.
Yep.
Up in Buffalo, one of the coldest
Game of the year.
Yeah, one of the coldest games of the year. We're going to stay on the ground. Is it Derrick Henry for 98? No. Is it James Cook for whatever his props set at? No. We are going to take Lamar Jackson over 52.5 yards rushing because we feel like this is the sort of game where it comes down to whoever has the ball last. We've seen this in years prior. Luke, design runs, play actions, keeping the ball for himself instead of Derrick Henry, pocket collapses, scrambling around. Again, we have to take Lamar Jackson. I have to.
I think there are three guys this week, the three mobile quarterbacks. Must-win game. What better way to do it than to take the ball out of the gun and run for your life? And that's what Lamar Jackson, Jayden Daniels, and Josh Allen are going to do this weekend.
Yep. We can kind of just tie these last 9 and 10 in a bow. Both MVPs, Sunday Night Football, to stamp your ticket, to punch your ticket to an AFC Championship game, most likely to go to Mr. Mahomes' house. Give us Lamar Jackson over the 52.5 rushing, and give us Josh Allen over the 45.5 yards rushing. Both these men can get 20, 30 and a carry. This is the only thing I want to be pulling for on Sunday night. Yep. Both quarterbacks to take the game into their own hands.
And from a rooting perspective, they got their ball in the hands on every play.
Like, on a cold night, we're really going to want to get in bed with trying to get the props over the air with a Shakir or a Mark Andrews or a Bateman or an Amari Cooper. No. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, when these two teams have the ball, every single play, you have an opportunity with whoever's on the field, whether that be the Bills or the Ravens, for Josh Allen or for Lamar Jackson to keep the ball for himself and pick up yards, getting frisky with his own feet. So prop number 9, Lamar Jackson, 52.5 rushing, and prop number 10, Josh Allen, over 45.5 yards rushing. Luke, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, John Mechie, St. Brown, Zach Ertz, Jayden Daniels, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Those 10 gentlemen, we have the props for the divisional round.
That was an all-time yap session by you.
Was it? One for the books, dude.
One for the books.
Let's
just hope there's some winners in there.
Hey, this will definitely be a Hall of Fame clip if we go. What are we setting this line at? 6.5.
Give me 7.
If we get fucking 7, dude, I'll be pretty stoked.
Come on.
I'll be pretty stoked, fellas. Right. We appreciate you. Drop a sub, drop a like, drop a comment of who your favorite prop of the weekend is, and we will see you on the other side.